Start recording. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to MPL Nuggets, everyone. I am Natalie Pierre-Lewis of MPL Consulting LLC, here for all of your business formation needs. If this is your first time with me, you hear my coworkers in the background. Every weekday morning, definitely Monday through Thursday, sometimes Friday, depending on content and how I'm feeling. I post short informational videos geared towards the new and emerging entrepreneur. So things like how to get your business registered, how to get trademarked, how to hire employees properly, like we're going to be covering this week. Making sure that you have appropriate contracts, choosing the right business entity. I help you do all of that. You might be asking yourself why I'm qualified to do that. Well, I've been a licensed attorney for over a decade. I've started multiple businesses for myself and others. I have had many careers in the realms of law, education, entrepreneurship, administrative support, and hospitality. And lastly, and most important, I'm very passionate about making business and legal education as accessible to everyone as possible. Not everyone has the time, money, or desire to go to law school or business school, but that doesn't mean that if you dedicate yourself to learning that you can't learn them, okay? Um, so again, this week we are talking about how to hire employees properly. Today we're going to be going over what is an independent contractor versus an employee. But before we go into that, I want to let you guys know about a few things. One, you're going to want to download my employee onboarding cheat sheet. It's the first link when you click the link in my bio. Second, if the cheat sheet isn't enough and you need more detail, I have my employee onboarding ebook that is on sale for $22. As well, if you want one-on-one time with me, I provide 15-minute complimentary consultations, and you can book me for a strategy session. I have 1 hour and 3 hour starting packages, so you can inquire about those as well. All right. So now we are, I think I've covered everything. Oh, no, no, no. Also, I have a private Facebook group, NPL Nuggets, where actually those cheat sheets and my ebooks are already up there. People who are members of my NPL Nuggets group don't ever have to pay for those products because I automatically upload them there. Um, and yeah. Okay, so now we can get into our content, all right? Today we are talking about independent contractors versus employees, okay? Um, the overarching topic is hiring employees properly. But before you do that, you have to understand whether the person that you are paying is an employee or an independent contractor, all right? So the difference between an employee and an independent contractor is all about the amount of control that the person who is paying has over the person who is doing the work. All right. So with an independent contractor, the person who is paying the independent contractor, they usually can only control when the work is delivered and what the result is. They, with an independent contractor, whoever's paying you, they don't have a say in how the work is going to be done or what is going to be done. So the independent contractor is just given a goal and they accomplish it. All right. So that is essentially is an independent contractor. Hello, Pow. I don't know how to say your name. Please pronounce it for me. Um, all right. So that is an independent contractor. With an independent contractor, the employee, the payer only has control over when the product is going to be delivered and what the product is going to be. They don't have a say in how or what is going to be done. All right. Now, we're going to get into the meatier part because determining an employee is actually a little bit difficult. There are three big determining factors. You have behavioral control, financial control, and relationship. Okay, so within an employee, the behavioral control that would signify that this person is an employee, it means that the person who's paying you has the right to direct and control the way that you do your work, okay, even if they don't exercise it. So if they tell you when and where you have to work, what tools you have to use, or they purchase those tools for you to use, these are indicators that you are an employee. if they give you very detailed instructions on how things are supposed to be accomplished, that is also an indicator of behavioral control. So you're more likely to be an employee. Third, if there is an evaluation system to measure how you're doing the work, that is another indicator of you being an employee. Because if I'm an independent contractor, you're not going to evaluate my methods of how I get things done. I'm just going to deliver you the product and you give me my money and I'm on my way. But if I'm an employee, you want to make sure that I'm maximizing my hours, that I'm really being productive, right? Okay. Fourth, behavioral control is training a worker on how to do the job. So if there is, a 1 day or a 3 day or a week-long training, most likely you're an employee. Or if there's periodic or ongoing trainings, okay? Because the employer wants things done a certain way. Independent contractors usually use their own methods. All right. So we've covered behavioral control under employee. So before we go into financial control, let me reintroduce myself. I'm Natalie Pierre-Lewis of NPL Consulting LLC, and I focus on helping businesses get their formation under control so they can maximize their profits, okay? And I broadcast every Monday through Thursday early in the morning for no reason. All right. So step one in determining whether you're an employee is whether there's behavioral control. Now we're going to talk about step two, financial control. This means, is there a significant investment in the equipment that the worker uses when, they're doing this work for someone else? So most independent contractors got to do everything out of pocket. All right. They're not getting reimbursements from the person who has hired them to do the job. That's why, independent contractors, they're always, logging their miles, tracking their expenses so that they can write it off on their taxes, because they're not going to be able to write it off with this person who's paying them. All right. However, go back. Another indicator that you're an independent contractor is if there is an opportunity for profit or loss. So if you think about a contractor bidding for construction, they put in their bids. If you bid too low as a contractor, you're stuck with that price, which means that you might take a loss because you can't change the price once your bid is accepted. Okay. Another indicator over financial control is whether you are able to go and seek employment elsewhere. So independent contractors usually have multiple projects going on all the time. Employees, depending on your type of job, you may be required to just stick with that one form of work. I've had projects where they've told me that I can't have any concurrent work. So in that instance, I was an employee. The last financial way to tell if there is control is the method of payment. Employees are usually guaranteed a regular wage, based on hourly, weekly, or some, stipulated time period, even if you get commission. Okay. All right. If you are an independent contractor, however, you're most likely going to be paid per job or by a flat fee. Okay. All right. So we've covered behavioral control and financial control of determining whether you're an employee. The third thing we are going to evaluate is the relationship, okay, to determine whether you're an employee. Written contracts that describe the relationship that parties intend to create, they're great, but they're not always, the be-all and end-all. In determining whether the relationship is an independent contractor or an employee, you're going to want to look at whether the person paying is providing benefits like insurance, a pension plan, vacation pay, or sick leave. Independent contractors don't usually get that. The permanency of the relationship is important. With an independent contractor, there is usually a specified end date for the project. With at-will employment, or if you're an employee, the unspoken thing is that this employment is indefinite. All right. And the last relationship kind of testing point for whether you're an employee is the services that you provide. Are they key to this business? The person who, the person you contract out to do maintenance in the building isn't the same person doing the day-to-day operations in your business, the receptionist or the office manager. So you want to look at this, at whether their services are integral to um, your business. Okay. So now that we have talked about the differences between independent contractors and employees, um, we are going to put it in real world terms with something that I know that most of you are very familiar with, and that is Uber. So there was actually a case with Uber in California and Massachusetts because, excuse me, uh, there was confusion as to whether Uber drivers are considered um, independent contractors or employees. Uber lost in this case and was required to pay up to $100 million. The reason why they lost is because, hold on one second. Again, we talked about, is the work an integral part of the employer's business? Uber is a ride sharing service, right? So if you don't have drivers, you don't have a business. So the driving was integral to their business. Second reason why they lost. Does the worker's managerial skill affect the worker's opportunity for profit or loss? So while yes, you can make money with Uber, you're kind of limited because one, Uber takes 20% off the top. You have a set rate for rides depending on the size of the car. And then on top of that, if you rent a car from Uber, that's another thing that you have to excuse me. Yeah, that's another thing that you have to pay for. So that cuts into your profits. Okay. All right. So these are the things that you want to think about in terms of, their managerial skills. Are they hiring others? Are they purchasing materials and equipment? Are they advertising and recruiting new clients? Are they renting space? Are they negotiating contracts? Are they managing timetables? All that is indicative of an independent contractor. That was not the case in Uber. Okay. Third point. How does the worker's relative investment compare to employer's investment? Now, on this front, it seemed like Uber drivers were more like independent contractors because they were using their cars. They have to get the insurance. They are taking the risk, for the most part. Yeah. Okay. Next is, does the work performed require special skill and initiative? Unless you are like a NASCAR driver, driving isn't necessarily a special skill. And in terms of initiative, I mean, all you really have to do is turn on the app and Uber says, hey, there's people looking for rides. Okay. So that is okay. The next step is the relationship between the worker and the employer, permanent or indefinite. So with Uber, it's kind of up in the air because while you can quit anytime you want, you can also work for them whenever you want. So it's kind of hard to determine whether on that point alone they are independent contractors. Okay. And what is the nature and degree of the employer's control? Remember, we're talking about Uber. The employee has a lot of control because they get to decide when they're going to drive. They're going to decide if they want this ride, things like that. Okay, so that's more. Oh, sorry. Nature and degree of employer's control. It's you lean more. Sorry, towards employee because the employer says whether you can drive. You have to be licensed by them, right? You can't get on the system unless you go through them, and you have to check in. You have to check in and check out. That's when you turn on the app. So, employer's control, and then So Uber was found to be actually an employer in those cases. So you really need to be careful with how you classify your employees, look at their duties, look at how much control you have over them, and that will help you determine whether they are an employee or an independent contractor. All right. So that is what I have for you today. Tomorrow we are going to go over how to conduct background checks. Um, in the meantime, make sure that you download my employee onboarding cheat sheet. Make sure that you, if the cheat sheet, if you want more expansion from the cheat sheet, grab my employee onboarding guide for $22. And also, both of those are available in my private Facebook group, NPL Nuggets. You'll want to join that too. So click the link in my bio and you will get all that information. All right. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.